explain some.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 100 of the Scumbags Wrestling Podcast. My name is Sean. I'm coming to you from London, Ontario, Canada, as always. I want to thank you for the 100 episodes now that you've been a part of, whether it's on Stitcher, Spotify, or any other location that you get your podcasts. Today is very special. It's number 100. We're doing it live on Facebook and YouTube. We got a panel going on today. We're going to do a lot of rants, a lot of talking about what we didn't like about WrestleMania, and some of the other stupidity that's going on in wrestling. Usually we check in on the Ontario scene. Ontario scene, unfortunately, is quite dormant at the moment thanks to this disease that we're dealing with COVID-19. And so we got to skip that part. But there is a special announcement for the Scumbags Wrestling coming up. Before we get going any further, I want to introduce our panel today. And we got Chris Maloney from Canadian Wrestling Network and TNT. Chris, how are you? There he is.
I'm good. I just had to turn my mic on. And yeah, TNT, Thursday Night Throwdown, every Thursday at 8 p.m. There we go. There's my plug.
Right here on Facebook and YouTube as well.
Yes.
And then second, going to go in the lineup that we have in front of me. Steven. Hey guys. Joining us from Toronto. How are things?
Very quiet, very creepy in Toronto right now.
Not surprising, and at the same time, kind of scary that somebody's saying quiet in Toronto in the same sentence. Next up, another place that's kind of quiet is Chris Jones over in Niagara Falls. Jonesy, how are you?
It's zombie world here.
And that's not the Wax Museum?
No.
Okay. And finally, from Wingham, we got Clarence, part of the crew at Midwestern Wrestling. Clarence, how are you?
How's she going, guys?
Good to see you.
It's always a quiet ghost town around here, so
with or without disease.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome.
Hey, Sean, we got one more as well. I don't know if you saw him sign in.
Oh, not yet. Is it Gordon?
No, it's Mr. Coper.
Oh, Mr. Daniel Coper. How are you, Daniel?
I'm gonna bring him on. Daniel, fix your camera. I can just see your forehead. There we go. Oh, with the title belt. Damn, he came prepared.
You have to defend it.
It's like a Ontario 24/7 championship right here.
There you go. Daniel, how are you?
All right.
Welcome to episode number 100. You've been on a couple of our episodes, and glad to have people who've been around for some of these episodes. So, just checking in with you guys. You've all seen WrestleMania?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Both days?
Wacky.
Excellent. Okay, so just going to quickly run down the results. As you know, on night one, Cesaro beat Drew Gulak in the opening kickoff match. Then there was Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross picking up the tag belts from Kabuki Warriors. Elias beat King Corbin. Becky Lynch beat Shayna Baszler in a quick match. Sami Zayn beat Daniel Bryan to retain the IC title. John Morrison captured the tag team titles to defend in a triple threat ladder match. And Kevin Owens beat Seth Rollins. And then we had the Goldberg lost to Braun Strowman for a new Universal Champion. And then finally the Boneyard Match. Thoughts on night one, guys? We'll start clockwise. So Chris, Steven, all the way to Daniel. Chris?
I still haven't seen...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Jonesy. You're no longer Chris on this show. It's just Jonesy. But anyways, I still haven't seen both full shows. I still got to catch up on the Edge match and then the Fatal 5-Way and the Otis match and stuff like that. But for the most part, it was good. Best match that still stands out, still Taker and AJ. The Universal title, the WWE Championship squash matches, obviously. I'm trying to think. There's one match I think that surprised me, and it was that first match between Gulak and with Daniel Bryan, right? That was pre-show or whatever. Cesaro. Yeah. See, I mean ROH guys, but the fact is, yeah, that was up there for me. But I'll go back and check out the Edge match. I know people have said it's long, but it's still Edge's comeback match. So I've seen lots of photos and stuff like that. So Anyways, for the most part, good show. Night 1. Night 2, can't say too much about. But Firefly Funhouse, never again, hopefully.
Steven, your thoughts?
It was okay. I mean, the Boneyard match really surprised me. It was really good. Trying to think. That was the Rhea. Night 1 had Rhea Ripley, right? And Charlotte. The
Night 2 had Rhea Ripley. So actually, just before we do continue, Night 2 was Liv Morgan beating Natalya. Ripley losing to Charlotte for the NXT Women's Championship. Black defeated Lashley. Otis beat Dolph and got Mandy Rose. Edge and Orton went about 37 minutes in a false count. Last man standing match. Street Profits beat Garza and Austin Theory. And that was the debut also of Bianca Belair. Bayley retained her women's championship. The Fiend beat Cena in the Funhouse, and Drew beat Brock for the WWE Championship. So those are night 2.
I mean, it was good. The 2 nights I liked that it was split in 2. It was much more watchable than it felt. WrestleMania is usually 30 hours, it feels like. But I mean, it was good. I hope that there's no more Firefly Funhouse matches, because I wasn't on enough acid to watch that, clearly. Because I didn't. That clearly hurt my head. I mean, the Boneyard match was very well done. I could watch that because it was actually well done, but WrestleMania met my expectations for what it was.
Cool. Yeah, we're going to break down at least the Boneyard match and Firefly Funhouse afterwards. A couple of questions to ask you guys about it. Jonesy, your thoughts on the entire weekend?
I thought the wrestling was good. Yes, I started talking.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
Okay. So, no, first night was good. Undertaker match was fine. The second night, I thought the Edge match was boring as shit. I'm sorry, for his comeback match, that was crap. For him to put himself at risk for a serious injury to do that type of wrestling, which isn't what he usually does, no sense to me. Firefly Funhouse match, I thought it was good to the point of it was ridiculous. It was something new. Did it make a lot of sense? No, but fuck, the NWO stuff, all the stuff they did with him was hilarious as shit.
Clarence, your thoughts?
Best match of the night was definitely the Boneyard match. We watched that again today. And the other ones just felt flat. A lot of them just didn't. It's the crowd. Without the crowd, they just fall flat. The Edge match, I enjoyed it. I don't know why he would do something like that after 9 years and neck surgeries, but it was a good match. It was too long, though. But all in all, I like the 2 nights. I think they might start doing it regularly.
And finally, Daniel, your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was pretty good, but it was weird not having any crowds. Because I don't know, it's just quiet.
Yeah. So in my case, just looking at the card overall, my favorite match definitely for the night 1 would have been Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. I actually had a little bit higher hopes for Sammy and Daniel Bryan, but I guess with Sammy playing the cowardly manager, it makes sense we're not getting El Generico against Bryan Danielson. And then night 2, I'd say was Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, at least for the matches that happened in the Performance Center. Of course, what more can you really say about the acid trip that was the Funhouse? You got to do a lot of analyzing just to figure out where things were going on that one. Probably watch it 2 or 3 times before you get to everything that they were trying to reference. And of course, Boneyard match, that was cinematic at its best, and I heard Jeremy Borash had his hand in it. And it was what I expected, actually, for the ones that were out of the Performance Center. So it was really good. Just in general, what was your favorite match that happened in the Performance Center?
I already told mine. That would be Cesaro against Drew Gulak. Hopefully they push Gulak. I think towards the summer, if wrestling ever comes back, I think it'd be a good thing.
Steven, your favorite Performance Center match?
Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair.
Jonesy?
Goldberg. Simply because he actually did more than 2 or 3 moves. Yes, it was the same move over and over again, and it was the longest match he's probably had like in years. So yes, it still sucked, but I thought it was much better than the crap they put out with him so far.
Clarence?
The TLC match with John Morrison. I loved the finish.
Yeah, definitely unique on that one. I don't think they've ever played that version of somebody retaining that way, or at least getting the prize at the top like that before. Daniel, your thoughts? Favorite?
I have to go with Edge and Randy Orton.
Okay. So then the Boneyard Match. Well, actually, let's go with thoughts on the Firefly Funhouse. This would probably be everybody blowing their mind out on this one. I've already heard, obviously, people saying that, acid trip and never do it again. But what happens with John Cena on his next appearance in WWE? Where's he go from here?
Never see him again.
True. Do we see him again? And if so, what happens? What would you like to see happen?
That's like asking if we'll ever see The Rock again. Like, you will. The difference is, like, that was a one-off thing. Hopefully they do something similar to that again, just a lot better directed.
Yeah. Jonesy, your thoughts?
That match reminded me of a lot of B movies, humor, dark humor. Yes, it was bad for what WWE usually presents, but maybe they've got some horror guy working for them right now, because that match and the Boneyard match had a lot of stuff borrowed and taken from a lot of horror movies. The very end with AJ putting his hand up, that was just like horror movie gold there, as far as what so many have done before. But I think it is one off match. I don't think it's going to affect Cena at all. He's going to come back however he wants to come back. And Bray Wyatt, he'll just, who knows what they're going to do with him, but hopefully they let him wrestle more than that. I think that was the problem with that match. There was very little wrestling.
Yeah, I think in my case, the problem with that one was I thought it was going to be on the line of what the Boneyard match was, and actually do some physicality more so than they did. But when you had a 37-minute match of Edge and Orton doing that same sort of thing throughout the Performance Center, you can't really do it back to back and expect people to tune in. What they do with Cena, hopefully there might be a little bit of a character tweak, but the only thing I thought was missing was also an appearance by the Nexus. Since we were doing John Cena, This Is Your Life. So with the Boneyard match, overall your thoughts on it, but then also Foley had tweeted out that he wants to be a part of another Boneyard match because, well, the way it was filmed, he could actually have a good-looking match. But does this open the door for more for Taker? And could you see them doing Taker Sting finally in this sort of environment? We'll go reverse with Daniel. Your thoughts on any of that?
I thought it was pretty good, especially how Undertaker comes riding up on his motorcycle.
Yeah, so do you see them doing more of that? Would you like to see a Foley or a Sting or anybody else do that?
I'd love to see another one.
Clarence?
If they're gonna if they're going to continue this American Badass / Undertaker / cinematic masterpiece, then yeah, throw everybody that we've always wanted to. The Sting, the Cactus Jack, like shit, dig up Terry Funk, bring him back for one more. Like, let's keep doing these. It was like getting hooked into a good action scene in a good movie. Like, it was great.
And Josie?
If you remember on the previous show, I said that movie Monster Brawl, that Undertaker match had that vibe that they did in that movie / pay-per-view. And I think that is more towards what they're going to go towards, is doing an event like that. Watch that movie, because your mind will be blown.
Steven?
If they do another one, big if, should be maybe once a year at a WrestleMania. Maybe once a year. And I could see Sting Undertaker. Not that I want to see it now, but I feel like that could be a next year WrestleMania, but they can't do that type of match too often, because it would just lose its appeal and its uniqueness. So if they're going to do it, next year's WrestleMania, but you only can do this so often before it gets old, or they overdo it, so if they're going to do it, next year WrestleMania, and I could live with Undertaker Sting. But
And Maloney?
So problem is, it's WWE, and in saying that, they're going to overkill the shit out of this, and then basically we're going to have 16 matches by the next WrestleMania, where it's like basically you'll have Sting against Vince McMahon, you'll have Vince McMahon bring back Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, it's one of those things that they're going to take it and they run it to, in my personal viewpoint, they're going to circus the shit out of this, which means they're going to kill it. They're going to take that one match that should be one and done and overkill it. And it's going to be like that Post Malone, song on the radio that you hear 50 times over and expect the radio stations to be like, oh yeah, hey, still like this. It's like, fuck that. No, forget about it. So hopefully they leave it at that. As far as the gimmick matches go like this, I don't see a problem with doing a WrestleMania style. Like if you want to do like a Sting, but I wouldn't mind seeing Brock Lesnar in one of these types of graveyard matches. I think that would be cool. Who you put him against, though, I don't know. Like maybe like a Braun Strowman or something like that.
Yeah, so just wondering if you guys think that doing the Boneyard match kind of rehabs the tarnished legacy that Taker sort of was getting after losing to Brock and even Roman, and looking like he was retiring and leaving his coat and hat behind, and then still going and having really bad matches. Does this make up for any of it?
WrestleMania 12, Roddy Piper Goldust. You remember that?
Yeah.
So they've been doing this forever. I mean, it's
What brawl?
yeah, that's and then there was a outside thing. I think what was it, WrestleMania 9 or 10 between Luger and Hennig or something like that. So they've been playing this gimmick thing up for like almost 30 years. So as far as Taker goes, I think when he either had lost against Brock Lesnar or he had left his coat and everything in the ring, it should have been that's the end of the Demon, the Phenom, American Badass. That's fine. Or that should have been it. Call it a career. WrestleMania the very next WrestleMania, they should have inducted him, and that should have been it. But he's destroying his legacy right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, though. Does the Boneyard match kind of make up for what he's done since there? Where, we go, oh my God, Taker's back again. We've seen DX against Brothers of Destruction, seeing Taker and Goldberg, which were horrible matches in Saudi Arabia. Does this make up for it?
If he ends his career on this, I'm happy with it.
Yeah. I don't think he will. Now that they can cut and edit and not do it live, I think they'll do more with him, but they'll make him look a lot better than throwing him in a ring for half an hour when he can't do 5 minutes.
I'm okay if they do next year, like I said, WrestleMania, one more of these, and that's his send-off. I'm also okay if this is his send-off. I don't want to see him in a standard wrestling match because we all know the Undertaker can't go like he used to, which is unfortunate. But I would either this is his send off or maybe him Sting next year WrestleMania, and that's the send off for both of them. But I really hope they don't put him back in a standard match.
You kind of watch every single Undertaker match and go, this could be the last time. And the guy coming back.
Then when it's not, you go, oh God, how's this going to end up going? So,
yeah.
But can we all agree if this is his last match at WrestleMania? I'm cool with it. It's the appropriate send off for him.
For sure.
And there was no Hall of Fame either.
What was that?
There was no Hall of Fame this year.
No, well, due to the COVID-19 stuff going on, I heard that Hall of Fame has been bumped over to SummerSlam weekend, provided it can go off.
Oh, okay.
I thought they were doing them throughout the next little bit on Raw or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard that part because last I saw was Georgia Smith, which is Baby Boy's daughter, had posted that it was going to not happen until the summer,
which is good. They need to have the same level as everybody before them. Like instead of a 2-minute clip on the Titantron and then here's your plaque or your ring, they need to do something big like they have been.
Yep, still make it special for everybody and put it on one of the major 4 pay-per-view weekends, which doesn't hurt. It just will help whatever city ends up hosting it. I think in this case it's Boston is supposed to be doing SummerSlam this year. So
yeah, good old Beantown right there, Red Sox.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are canceled, XFL canceled their season just like the NBA, NFL. Well, NFL was done. NHL, Major League Baseball, and everything. But now they announced that this week that they're ceasing operations. So almost the exact same amount of time of being in existence for the first time of the XFL, it's shutting down, I guess, fully this time. They've released all their employees except for maybe a small handful of office people. Do you see it being able to come back after everything clears up? Because Vince did bank on having a loss for a couple of years, or is it totally done?
It's done. I'm a football fan, and I tried to watch the XFL. This was like a mercy killing. This COVID, the football was bad, really, really bad. Maybe there's 2 or 3 guys who can go from the XFL to the NFL, but it was bad. I couldn't watch it. I watched for a couple of weeks, and then it was a mercy killing.
Anyone else watch the XFL?
I loved it.
What?
I actually enjoyed it myself.
It'll be a three time try.
I've been playing football and watching football for over 20 years. It was different, which caught my attention, but it was also there would be a lot less injuries on the way they performed it. And I think the CFL and the NFL are going to take some of their rules and stuff. I think it'll come back. I think this is just a way of them saving money because it hasn't been out like the NBA. There's not a ravenous fan backing that can support everybody else still working. I think it'll be back.
Yeah, this might have been just a way of, in what you're saying, Clarence, is possibly letting them all go if they need to go get another job, EI, or anything like that. And if things are able to go back, then they can come back and go again. Because when they originally did shut it down after suspending play after week 5, Vince said it is coming back in 2021. Yeah. So this could just be an office thing.
Yeah. This is a purely budget thing. Like, it's them saving money. Because, I mean, they're losing money in the XFL. They're losing money in WWE. They're like everybody's losing money. So if you can cut one thing out, bring it back, in the fall, in the winter, start pumping everything back up for it. They have great talent, great coaches. They finally did it where it's, you have 14 to 18,000 people. Like, they did it right.
Yeah, even though the ratings seem to have been dipping week after week, I did notice that the attendance was going up for certain places, including I saw somebody mention about Seattle was having better attendance than what LA Rams are going to end up having. So Seattle could have actually gotten the NFL team.
And I mean, being able to watch football 12 months a year, you can't ask for anything better than that.
I mean, I like some of the rules, but I didn't find that there was some raw, like, I think they need to, if they bring it back, I think they need to get out of some of the markets they're in and go more smaller towns and not like I think New York had a team. Why? It wasn't like go just outside of New York and draw the people who would go watch it. I mean, there's so much going on in some of these cities that, I mean, Seattle's perfect because other than outside of regular Seahawks season, they have the baseball team, but they don't have a basketball team. So if the XFL comes back, they need to find markets that do not have that basketball or hockey where, people want to go see sports, but that's where the XFL could come in.
Anyone else with thoughts on the XFL? Or
I gotta agree with Clarence. I think it's all just basically came down to a financial thing. I mean, that as a promotion that you're shut down and you're losing money left and right, and WWE stock is going down as well. It's cut your ties, cut your losses, whatever the case may be. So, on the good note, I mean, he's not kind of saying see you later because of attendance issues or because the league sucked or anything like that. That's it was one of those things that COVID shut it down. So it's go in the history books as that. I mean, you can be like whatever you want to say and say, hey, the games weren't good, or the fact is I had to get used to a new system. But the fact is it's always going to go down as COVID shut it down. So
yeah, just like everything else.
Yep. Okay, so craziness of also what's going on. Normally we don't talk a lot about the MMA, but Dana White has been crazy trying to get his own island for fighting, trying to go on native reserves in California. I guess he had everything all set up and ready to go, but a governor in California ended up contacting ESPN or Disney, and Disney finally got Dana to shut down and stop his craziness of trying to get it going unsanctioned. But, he's sitting back waiting for his opportunity to do so. But that brings us to AEW and WWE, and I guess even Impact. They're still going to be trying to do empty arena productions. When do their networks end up saying enough's enough and shut them down?
All right. The problem is Anthem owns Impact Wrestling. Anthem is also owning Access TV. So that's case in point. Impact taped 2 months of television apparently down in Nashville. And then I guess they're ceasing as of after those tapings, if they've taken place already. AEW, I think, is done for the most part. The same sort of thing. They've taped a lot of shows. We'll see what happens once they run out. WWE, fuck them right now for doing what they're doing, especially with the announcement that came out with regards to, hey, we're going to go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And Vince McMahon is like, oh, yeah, well, everything that's going on, you guys need us to be, there for you. And as far as Dana White goes, there's a reason him and Vince McMahon get along. And Dana is absolutely nuts. I understand that he's got a passion for what he does, but the fact is just shut everything down, give people a break. And on top of that, there was an announcement just past 24 hours of WWE employee, part of the ring crew or whatever the case may be, had tested positive for COVID. They didn't announce that at all. So it's, it's scary because the fact is you deal with somebody that you work with. Next thing you know, you bring it home to your family, and the rest is history. So it's just shut everything down. That's my opinion.
I read there was 3 of them that tested positive. It was Lashley, Corey Graves, and Carmella. Read that yesterday. And
yeah, they were apparently already quarantined, and that's why they were able to come back. Though Lashley came back for WrestleMania, and Graves and Carmella were able to be available this past Friday. Bringing up what you said, Chris, is the fact that Vince had thought about taping months or at least weeks in advance, and then all of a sudden changed his mind and is now aggressively going to do this every other day recording, which definitely puts their talent in more risk. I've said a few times either here on Scumbags Wrestling Podcast or on TNT, I don't mind the fact that they're carrying on, but I do like the fact that they were going to do packaged recordings and then allowed talent to be safe in their homes for weeks on end. This way, I can't totally support and agree with, regardless of the entertainment value going on. Anyone else's thoughts on it? Daniel?
I hope they change their mind and they end up taping until mid-May, like do the whatever 3, 4, 5, 6 days, whatever it takes to, and then send everyone home. But who knows what they're gonna. It changes. I don't know even how in Florida they're allowed to tape right now.
They got letters saying that they're essential media.
When you're Vince McMahon, you find a way to turn it into being, like Sean said, essential media. You throw a couple bucks at people, and all of a sudden you're allowed to do stuff that nobody else can. Nobody else is putting on wrestling shows. But hey, go ahead, WWE.
I think we're about 10 years away from in the movie Running Man, where they put in Jesse and Arnold and digitize them and have them fighting. Soon they're going to be able to do that.
Daniel, your thoughts?
Just wondering if they still want to take the chance of people actually, getting the virus, and instead of just taking a break.
From everything I've heard about WWE, Vince McMahon, they're going to take the risk because at the end of the day, they really don't care. They're independent contractors. They're, Vince McMahon wants it done, and Vince McMahon gets it done no matter what, or he'll guilt you into doing it.
Okay, here's a question for everybody, because this is something we haven't talked about. With regards to, I think Jonesy's on a little bit of a delay, but anyways, if what I've read is true, a lot of this.
Yeah, I must be on a delay. I'm trying to talk and.
All right. If apparently what's true, what I've read is the fact is because WWE has contracts with Fox and NBC Universal, which owns the USA Network, what I've read is they are allowed to do 3 taped shows a year. Other than that, they have to produce 49 live shows. So when it comes to these billion-dollar contracts, do you guys believe that's the case? The fact is, if they don't go and do these 49 live shows, they're either in breach, or the fact is they can rework a contract with the WWE to say, hey, you didn't give us what we asked for, so now we're going to basically, fuck you over. Is it one of those things that you guys believe as wrestling fans to be true? The fact is that they have to give 49 live shows a year.
I think I heard somewhat the same numbers with Dana White and ESPN. Supposed to be like 40 some odd events, and he only has 42 more weeks to go. So if they do get the green light, and that has to happen, he would also be doing like multiple pay-per-views throughout the week just to make sure he gets those 40 in. So if it is the case, then that's a little bit understandable, but in the circumstances that we have right now with everything being shut down legally by different states saying, no, you can't do this, there should be consideration in their contracts because of that.
So why can't they all just quarantine at the Performance Center for 14 days and do a live show a day with the people they have there, and then we're good? Contracts are upheld. I'm sure the contract doesn't say how many viewers, what the ratings are, all that stuff. It just says you have to do a live show.
Right? So, Jonesy, you were going to say something. 3, 2.
Yes, I was. Okay, I'm not going to look at the screen because it's throwing me off. I can't even remember what you guys were talking about now. Forget it.
I don't know if it's the computer that's on a delay or if it's Jonesy.
I'm pretty sure it's Jonesy.
Computer.
It's all good. I was going to bring it up, and Steven did send me a link. They're declared on the bump the other day that the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, we just lost Jonesy for a moment. Hopefully he'll be back. The NXT Cruiserweight Championship has been declared somewhat vacant. Jordan Devlin is still the official champion, but because he's stuck over in the UK with the COVID-19 no traveling circumstances, they're going to do an interim champion just like MMA does, and they're going to do an 8-person or 8-man tournament and do it almost G1 style. Bracket A, bracket B, round robin, 4 people in each bracket, and they come up with a champion who eventually it'll probably look like a Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon back at WrestleMania 10, where the real champ and the interim champ will end up colliding. But so it says here, 8 superstars will be split into 2 groups of 4. Superstars will compete against each of the 3 other members of their group. The superstar with the best record in each group will advance to the championship match. Any ties will be broken by head-to-head record, and winner of Group A will face the winner of Group B to determine the interim champion. Now, I also did find out that there is at least the first 4 for Group A been released, and Group A has Kushida, Drake Maverick, Tony Nese, and Jake Atlas. Still waiting on Group B, but your thoughts on this format and the idea of an interim champion?
It's just content. That's exactly what we were talking about before. This is a way that they can get something on TV. I mean, at the end of the day, the guy can go to the UK NXT and defend it over there or whatever.
Daniel?
Not really sure.
Steven?
I mean, it makes sense. Get an interim cruiserweight champ here in the States that you can eventually have them. Who knows how long this is going to take, but they can defend the championship on TV. I think you're eventually going to find the same thing with the NXT tag titles, with it them being split, with Pete Dunne being over in the UK. But I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's good content. Hopefully the other 4 superstars are going to be good. So I don't know who they'll be able to get, who's willing. I don't know how this is going to work, but at least it's quality content to watch.
Maloney?
This could be Mike Kanellis' big win coming up on the Group B side. But anyways, serious points. I mean, what they're doing is like almost exactly what you said with regards to interim champ, all of a sudden WrestleMania 10 type moment. But seeing the bracket released, I think Kushida, I think this would be a good way to establish him as WWE, NXT guy. Different from what they did with Kenta. Now, in that being said, Kenta had a lot of injuries and everything else, but the fact is, why not try to establish a guy like Kushida, because the fact is he is known, he can carry that championship. And as far as the Jordan Devlin versus Kushida match, I'd love to see, especially being a New Japan fan. So,
Anyone else see who they'd like to see come out of Group A?
Drake Maverick.
Oh my God. I
Who's
think
your front runner for Group A there, Steven?
it's got it. I'm assuming it's going to be Kushida, but it could be that Jake Atlas. Because was that not the guy that was on the Undercover Boss?
Yeah, he's the guy that Stephanie gave the contract or whatever to.
Those are the only two I could see. I guess it depends on who's going to be in Group B, which, from what I read, is going to be announced at 3:00 today.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised. Definitely like your idea that it could be Kanellis in there, Chris, but I'm not sure who the other ones would be. Probably a Danny. Well, I was going to say Danny Birch, but maybe they're over in the UK as well. Let's see what else is there. Oh, the Revival just got released officially on Good Friday. So it was Good Friday for them. They're going to be going by different names. And could they show up in AEW? If so, what would you like to see done with them?
Well, everybody. Oh, go ahead, Clarence.
They're not going to be anywhere anytime soon. If everything's pre-recorded already, I mean, you'll probably see them on Raw or something in a week, just because it's already filmed and all that stuff. Well, maybe not Raw. They'll go over to TNA, I would imagine. They'll go to Impact.
You assume hitting Impact until they can go over to AEW?
I don't think they're big enough to go to AEW yet, personally.
Daniel?
I'd say probably over to Impact.
Better used to them over there?
Yeah.
Steven?
I'm going to assume they end up in AEW. I think AEW's taping is good until May 10th. I mean, it's no coincidence that WWE released them after all this taping was done for AEW. Like we were talking yesterday, this is the opportunity that the idea that I had we were talking about is a potential some sort of horseman-ish with Sean Spears and the Revival or whatever they're going to go by, and someone to be there that they just need something because, well, we'll talk about AEW's show, I'm sure, in a little bit, but they need something. And I could see this Revival could at least make the AEW tag division watchable.
Maloney?
So Steven's got me thinking about something here. So I'm going to say AEW for sure. If they have to transition in the meantime because of a no-compete or whatever the case may be, ROH or New Japan for like a month or so. As far as what Steven was saying, though, I think it'd be cool to see them hook up with Sean Spears as well as see Hangman Page be part of that group. So you got Sean Spears, Hangman Page, and the Revival, all gifted wrestlers. Sean Spears has the experience, obviously. And the Revival, we know they're going to end up feuding with the Young Bucks. And who does Hangman Page hate the most right now is Matt Jackson. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things I could easily see a faction being formed in AEW. And as a wrestling fan, I'd be hyped to see it. But like I said, if they have to transition in between, I don't think it's going to be Impact. I think it's going to be ROH and New Japan. So I guess we'll wait and see.
Problem is there's no compete from what I read. They're just released, but ROH isn't in taping and you can't go over to Japan. So I think they're kind of stuck until mid-May when the next round of tapings for AEW are.
Well, technically, there's nothing stopping them from going over to Japan. It's just the fact is they'd be quarantined, would they be over there? Because you've got promotions over there that have been running. New Japan is not one of them. They are, lowering the curve, so to speak, or whatever the case may be. But I think if New Japan does finally say, hey, we're going to start running shows again, and I think they're cut right now till May the 4th or 5th, but they haven't announced anything further than that. And I think if they start doing shows again, especially with the AEW tie-in and Jericho and the Young Bucks and everything else, I think we could see the revival in New Japan Pro Wrestling if the timing hits sometime next month.
I could also see, even though we've been talking about the fact that AEW is already recorded up until mid-May, probably leading up to, what was it, Double or Nothing, they were supposed to do in Vegas. I think that was supposed to be May 23rd. But they can always do pre-tape stuff like they do with Being the Elite and insert it throughout their program if they're going to do anything with the revival. Thoughts on the fact that they could go that way, or are you still leaning towards waiting for next tapings?
I would wait to see if you have live fans at your next taping, because that pop would be really big. But I guess you could do pre-tape, but you're not really going to get that bang for just a pre-tape. Sorry, Clarence?
Like the Matt Hardy thing. They would have got a lot bigger pop if he didn't show up in an empty arena.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm running it, I'd hold off to see if you're going to have fans in mid-May. But, I mean, we've seen what AEW does with their pre-tapes. Brody Lee. I'm afraid to see what they're going to look like if they do pre-tapes.
Yeah, you could end up doing more Billionaire Ted or Billionaire Vince in this case with Brody Lee, because that's all they're doing right now. And I actually feel bad for the Super Smash Brothers or Dark Order members, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, now being second to Brody Lee, and he's doing this Vince ripoff thing.
Hey, piss off on that. If anything at all, they are the number one contenders in the tag division. So they went from who the fuck are these guys on Twitter and social media crapping all over these guys when they debuted, now to be irrelevant. And I think Brody Lee is going to do anything at all. He's going to heighten them.
Yeah, but it's them that got the victories. Brody Lee had nothing to do with them getting victories.
No, but I think with the whole COVID thing, I think that's the only reason we're seeing so much of Brody Lee. Because even there was one episode at AEW, I don't know if it was Dark or Dynamite, but it was like, yeah, this is Creeper number 8 and Creeper number 9. You know what I mean? So
God.
They're very limited with what they can do right now. And that's one of the problems about what you guys were saying with regards to the debuts and stuff like that. It's like Matt Hardy's debut would have been so much better. Brody Lee's debut would have been so much better. But if they had wrestling as normal right now, what would we had seen as far as the Dark Order and the connection goes? Because right now it's a lot of Brody Lee stuff, but it's probably because he's the only one available. I mean, obviously Grayson and Uno are probably trapped back here in Canada, so they're unavailable to go in the States. You know what I mean? So in a perfect world, we would have seen what would have happened with all three of those guys. But I think with what we're getting right now, I think, Brody Lee is, if he's on TV, he's on TV.
So is Creeper the new word for conquistador?
Si, senor.
Or Villano?
Villano. How many Villanos? I know there was 4 and 5, and all of a sudden Jericho, well, guys, we get in the ring, and his stick back in WCW was making fun of anybody he possibly could. But some of the segments with the Villanos were I mean, it had me in tears some days.
Yeah, I think there was at least 6 Villanos.
And then you had fucking El Dandy back then too.
And Super Callow. So, okay, sticking with AEW though. AEW's got their TNT tournament starting. It's basically a TV title. Do you see any other outcome than the finals being Cody against Archer, or is it a foregone conclusion that these two are clashing in the finals?
Hell no, Spanish God, man.
That's your finals, and it's the worst title name I've heard. I mean, really?
Hold on. Wait, hold on. I'm taking offense to this. What do you mean worst title name in the world? What is the actual title called?
TNT Championship.
Oh, okay. So anything that's titled TNT is just crap then, eh?
Well,
Oh,
but really, why would you fucking name the title after the network you're on?
he's trying to fill the hole that he just dug.
I named the fucking podcast after a network that existed. So
I can live with that. You don't have a championship belt. What if they get kicked off the network?
I got a championship belt signed by TJP. I can go get it.
That's unfortunate.
Oh geez, here we go. I'm gonna mute the mic. Daniel, talk smack against Steven up there.
It's just they couldn't have named it a TV championship or Jesus Christ Superstar Championship. They had to name it. God damn it, TNT. Really?
Hey,
Kind of lazy.
so Steven is banned from TNT for a good year. You heard it on this show first.
I mean, at least your
Get it
show's
all out now then.
at least your TNT show's entertaining. Fuck.
Yeah, for the most part. Except for when Sean doesn't ask questions to you, I guess. So
Well, he's the living Mr. Mute clearly today.
He's not TNT though. You are.
Yeah, you're the lead on that show. So when it came time for me to ask questions, I asked and inserted. But when you got the questions going, what do you want?
no comment. Happy Easter.
It's not called Scumbags of TNT,
Exactly.
but it could be, right, Sean?
Of course, there could be a hostile takeover, like NWO taking over WCW. So, sticking once again with AEW, and I know this is the favorite part that Steven's been waiting for. Time to rant. Did you like this week's episode versus NXT, which had basically three matches, but two main matches that should have been on TakeOver. And even though WWE puts the NXT show on the network the next night, that you could wait till Thursday to watch it, it still beat AEW. Not by my viewers, but it still beat them. And AEW is a one-time run as opposed to WWE getting replay. Is it on AEW's production and what they put out for being a fault losing anytime they do to NXT, or is it just what's going on? And your thoughts on this week's show.
So before Steven rants, I'm just going to say this. Sheeta versus Britt Baker, match of the week for both shows. But other than that, I will let it be that, because I want to say positive comments about AEW before Steven shits all over it. So here we go.
I mean, the Britt Baker Sheeta match
Was a good match.
That I will not shit on, because that actually had my intention. And then the horseshit came. This is where after this match, I turned it off, because sweet mother of Jesus, that had to be the worst match of the year. The tag team best friends versus fucking Kenny Olivier and Michael, whatever the fuck Oil Boy is. It was horrible. If I wanted to see that sort of horseshit on my TV, I would find it on the internet. This is what will kill AEW. It was the worst thing I've seen, and I've seen some shitty independent shows, and it made it look like Wrestle fucking Mania. He fucking puts oil on his chest and to stop the chops. Oh, fuck me. That was horrible. And then in the finish where he pulls the fucking thong out, fuck off. That is horseshit. The flying 60-knot. Fuck me. Like, no. I literally turned it off. I had to record the rest of the show, and I turned it off because I could not watch anymore. This will be, if they continue with this sort of horseshit, this is what will kill them.
So do you feel that, and I totally agree that match was ridiculous and garbage. Do you think that's why fans may have tuned out and went over to NXT, or?
Yes.
You know?
Well, there's no doubt in my mind.
Clarence, your thoughts on this week's AEW show?
I loved it.
Are you fucking high? Fuck off.
I didn't see it. So
Okay,
I'm
that's why.
just gonna be the devil's advocate here and say I
Go
love
watch that fucking horseshit and tell me that you would let that on any show that you would ever help out with.
Well, I wouldn't
I
help out with any of those.
fucking
Because
paychecks on it that you would
He
not
puts
let
his own
that.
show on.
What?
Clarence puts his own show on.
Yeah. Watch that match and tell me that you would let that on your own show.
Well, I'm gonna have to now.
Daniel, your thoughts on AEW?
Like,
Did you watch it?
motherfucker, I would fire and beat the piss out of them because that was fucking horseshit. Motherfucker. And then I listened to Jim Cornette, and he has, well, that's my idol right there, but motherfucker, it was horseshit.
So that's what's wrong with you. You're a Jim Cornette fan.
Oh,
Hey now.
Whoa, don't get started on that. But it was horseshit. I don't care what anyone says. Go watch that match, and you're like, you could see some cheap independent wrestling that's better than that.
What are you drinking there, Sean?
I have Mountain Dew.
Oh, Maloney.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is free advertisement for this. Anyways, this is the beer that I have fallen in love with.
You know it's 2:00 on a Sunday afternoon, right?
And then yesterday, I discovered this one.
It's after 12.
Unopened, though. Hey, I'll tell you what. I am doing a podcast, multitasking, cooking 2 hams as we go. Wife and daughter are out. So, yeah, I'm enjoying this, not hosting, enjoying this beer. So, here we go. Brewdog Punk
Did you
IPA.
watch the fucking show on Wednesday? The horse shit?
Did I watch it?
Yeah, did you go slit your wrist like the rest of us after watching that tag match?
See, I'm an Omega fan, so I can't
Jesus
I can't
Christ.
I can't piss on anything that Omega's in. The fact is, I'm not a big Nakazawa fan, but and then the best friends, I'm a Orange Cassidy mark as well. So it's if they're in the match, I'm not going to shit on it. Nakazawa by himself, maybe.
Yeah, you can be a fan of theirs and still go, that was ridiculous.
Hey, I tell you what, you want to talk Ontario Indie? The fact is, I'm a huge fan of Tarek. Okay, but the fact is, if Sebastian Suave's in the ring, who gives a shit? But I'm not going to piss on the match if Tarek's in it. So there.
Would you fucking be okay if Tarek pulls his fucking thong out of his and uses it as a fucking cloth?
Tarek wouldn't do that the same way Kenny Omega didn't do it. But
I know, but
I could see Sebastian Suave doing something like that.
it was horseshit.
Think about it this way. Sebastian Suave takes off that tracksuit. Next thing you know, he's got fucking Lita thong going on.
It'd be better than the shit I just watched on Wednesday. That was horseshit. And I think Trent is talented. I think Kenny Omega can be very talented. And he gets me at like, oh, I can watch some of his matches. Then he gets involved in something like this. And I just want to, like the week before, Kenny Omega versus Trent, really good match. Was it? I think it was the week before or 2 weeks before. And then they come back with this horseshit of a tag match that will be the death. If they continue shit like this, will be the death of AEW.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot then. In a perfect world, because I want to get a sense of who you are as a wrestling fan. Perfect tag team match right now, 2020, if everything were to exist.
Are we talking
Every promotion in the entire world, you have to pick 2 tag teams to go up against each other. A match that you're going to give a 5-star, 6-star rating to that you're going to thoroughly enjoy. It's not going to include thongs. So who would you pick?
the Revival or whatever they're going to be? Actually, I'm going to go old school. I'm going to go Midnight Express versus Rock and Roll Express. Old school. New, it would be probably a Revival versus I could live with the Young Bucks versus them because they would be the perfect opposites of each other. That could be one of those matches.
Okay, so you're forgiven because you just proved that you have good taste in wrestling. At times.
Yeah, I mean, I do not like. Did you watch that tag match though?
Yeah, well, for the most part, most of it. I tuned in late because I had to reset the internet and stuff like that. So
Start it from the start. The stupid promo thing in the trailer to the end of the match and tell me that is not the worst thing you've seen.
You know what? As we're doing this show, because I'm not hosting, I'm going to watch the match right now. So there we go.
It was not the greatest.
We're going to see a suicide on live on TV on your podcast.
No. I've learned my lesson about that shit. I'm not getting banned again. No, the fact is, I will put it on a side channel. I will watch the match as we're still doing this. So,
Daniel, your thoughts? Did you watch AEW?
Fortunately, I didn't see it yet.
Don't waste your time. There was one match that was good. I mean, two matches, I guess. The Sean Spears, Cody at the end was good.
Until the ending. Getting pinned while in a figure four?
I know, that was dumb, but at least the match itself, the whole body, was decent until the ending. But the Britt Baker match was clearly the match of the week. And I'm hoping if they do more shit like that and less stupid shit, it'd be amazing. But they tend to do more stupid shit and less good stuff.
So with this situation, though, that is going on in general for all of wrestling, WWE did complete WrestleMania. Do you have any interest going forward or just watching it because it's wrestling?
Who, me?
Anybody.
Sure. Go for it. Give us your big rant again.
I actually am interested. Well, I taped SmackDown, and then I don't really get where they're going, Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, but that could be interesting. I mean, I'll always watch wrestling. I 99% of the time prefer the independents, the local independents. I've seen some really, really better shows than the big companies at Smash or at Midwest. I mean, that's the shit that I would prefer, but unfortunately right now I'm limited to what's on TV.
So you've got somebody with you there, eh? You're aware of that?
Yeah, that's
so
a friend.
We're not going to see you hacked on camera or anything like that.
Well, if you make me watch that horse shit of a tag match again, probably. Horseshit 1, Horseshit 2, and the best friends, and fucking Orange Cassidy, who can't take his fucking hands out of his pockets. Clarence, never book fucking Orange Cassidy. Please, dear God.
Hey, Clarence, if you ever want to book Orange Cassidy, I will pay half of his fees as far as his booking fees go.
We have that on camera.
Yes, we do.
It is there, and it will be on our podcast when it's distributed on about a dozen different platforms.
Great.
I will fucking pick it outside your building.
I'll make sure you're banned from that building. Hey, Sean, so we're an hour in.
We'll make up a poster with a different address and send it to him.
There we go.
Sean, we're an hour in. You want to fill people in on what we're doing right now?
Well, it is the 100th episode of the Scumbags Wrestling Podcast. 100 after starting with the Sharpshooter podcast with you. We're available on about a dozen different outlets, but 100 is kind of a milestone. So I want to thank everybody for joining us.
For those audio listeners, how do people get in touch with the Scumbags of Wrestling?
Well, of course, there's our group page on Facebook. Just a while ago, we were trying to get to number 400. We're actually at 434. So that's on Facebook. Our videos are on YouTube under Scumbags Wrestling, and I can be emailed at scumbagswrestling@gmail.com.
All right, so just for the record, I'm loading up that match. Oh, shit, can you guys hear that?
No.
Okay, that's a good thing. All right, so I will give my thoughts after I watch the match here.
Yeah, well, it looks like we are getting ready to wind down with Jonesy not being able to come back. Our trivia is out now. And so just any final thoughts on what you see going forward with wrestling?
Let's just get this wrapped up so we can get back to putting on shows and going to shows and having a friggin' life.
So are you guys still hopeful of a show on May 23rd in wing them, or
I
are
mean,
you getting down to the crunch time of having to make a decision?
we've talked about it all the time. We haven't made a decision as of yet. It's one of those, even if everything goes back to normal, are people going to come out? That's the big thing. Are you all of a sudden, going to get 350 people packing into a room a month after all this is over with? Probably not. So, I mean, it's all strategy. We got to figure something out and move forward from there.
Yep. Pretty much the same with any company going on, just waiting and seeing what's being advised by government and different officials. So, yeah.
Like, I know Smash is done till June, I think Seb said.
Yeah, they put out a message a week and a half ago saying that everything in April has been canceled, definitely up until June, maybe July.
Yeah, which we kind of go by. Me and Seb talk all the time, so yeah, we'll see what happens. I just want to get back to it. I've been missing it.
Yeah, I think everybody's missing it, and whoever gets that first show out there, they're going to get a lot of people, I think, going just to support it and be happy that it's back for something they can go and watch and gather for. So
we should as promoters, we should all come together and just do like a 5-6 hour show with 10 or 11 different promotions in one spot, like just have a huge
Supercard
back party.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome, but good luck with some of the politics.
Yeah.
There is no politics that exists in Ontario independent wrestling.
Okay.
And you like this tag match, so clearly we know where your brain is.
I just watched who is it? Trent on the mat, Nakazawa have him up in the corner, and then basically pull his. Oh my god, that shot looked like it hurt. Cup or not.
Yeah. Well, you can be in that fairy tale world of that match and knowing and thinking that there isn't politics in independent wrestling, regardless of where it is, whether it's Ontario or another place. But yeah, so definitely hoping things can get back to normal and get out there. There's one thing though that I've been working on. Chris, can you get ready to pull that picture up that I sent you?
Yeah, so I'm going to briefly kick everybody off here, and I'm going to bring up the photo, and then I'll bring everybody back. So just one sec.
Okay.
You have to go pick it up.
That's fine. Continues.
Well,
Yeah.
So
Rich, on your back live here.
Yeah, no worries. So we're going to have to just edit out that little bit of section when we go audio. But what people are seeing or saw briefly on the screen is a mock-up of the future shirt that's coming out in celebration of number 100 and independent wrestling in Ontario. And it's comic book style. And it's going to be our new shirt. And you have some of the Tyson Duke's Wrestle Factory students. You have some of the best in Ontario scene, and it's going to be a comic book style for our next Scumbags Wrestling T-shirt. They'll be priced at $30, and be able to get through Twisted Tees out of Alora. So the artist that I've contacted, his name is Nigel Lewis. He can be looked at for his other merch and drawings that he's done at NCL Studios on Instagram. I saw a drawing that he did of Shotzi Blackheart. I saw one of Kenny Omega, even Rosemary and Jody Threat. And I just knew that I kind of have to get this guy to do our new shirt. And I threw out some names on the indie scene, of those that I like, and he came back with this rendering. So as you see, there's people like Tyson Dukes, there's Sebastian Suave, 3 of the Buffalo brothers, including Blackwood, Garcia, and Bennett. There's Banks, Carrick's on there, King of the North, Carter Mason, Jody Threat's on there, and from the factory with Shiloh, Paul Boone, both members of the Revival, or the Revolt. Everybody has the sirens going off.
Welcome to Toronto.
Okay, there you go. There's Casey Spinelli up there, Jim Strider. Also,
did you get releases to use their likeness yet, or is everybody signed a release for him?
No. So we're going to make that into a t-shirt, hopefully, and then encourage anybody who purchases a t-shirt that they're going to proceeds going to help with this downtime and help fund some stars that need the extra cash.
It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, and the coloring still is being done. I spoke to him this morning, and I can only imagine what it's going to look like once everything's in place. So that's hopefully. What was that, Clarence?
They're going to look pretty wicked.
Yeah, I'm definitely impressed with his work. And you can check out Nigel Lewis on Instagram, NCL Studios, and watch out for our Facebook page for the official announcement when it is available through Twisted Tees. Any other thoughts on what you've seen so far, guys, with that?
I'll have to get me one of those.
Yeah, that's definitely a must-have that I'll be getting.
I mean, I'll get one of those if you get one of ours.
Oh, for sure. I was looking at your sweater.
Oh, you're doing shirts?
Yeah, we have Midwestern Wrestling shirts.
Dude, are you serious?
I was at the first show and I've been in Toronto.
The first show, I was sitting pretty much right beside you. Bought a shirt, placed it right on the table. You actually held it up like this as we're doing.
I was talking to Sean.
Oh, I didn't buy one.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay, never mind. There's mass confusion going on. Anyways, yes, Midwestern Wrestling has shirts. Steven, did you know that?
And they got hoodies.
Clearly not, but I will have to buy one now.
There we go.
Do you ship to Toronto?
We can ship anywhere. We actually have a shipment going out to Nug shortly, so we'll have to get one for you out there too.
Yes, because Nug will be at the next show whenever that happens. And
can we put Steven in a ring with Nug for that second Midwestern show if it happens or when it happens?
We can. Maybe have a t-shirt on a rope. T-shirt on a pole match.
It would be still better than that fucking horseshit tag match. Chris, I do want to talk to you about that tag match on Thursday because I would love to get your actual honest opinion on your.
Okay. You know what? I will debate you on Thursday. I will watch the match in its entirety, and then basically, me and you can have a nice gentleman's discussion about the match on TNT. Another thing that you shit on, by the way.
Yeah, for listeners of this podcast, please join us Thursdays on Facebook and on YouTube for Thursday Night Throwdown TNT. Chris Maloney and myself, we run down what's going on with the news. Sometimes have drop-ins like Steven, Daniel, Clarence, Doug. We got a bunch of people to join us, but as you heard just now, they're going to debate the validity or at least the quality of that tag team match from last week's AEW.
I guarantee Thursday I'll be wearing my Kenny Omega shirt, so I won't be wearing a thong, though. I'll tell you that much, though.
One can only hope.
That he is or that he isn't?
That he isn't.
Oh, okay. Just clarify.
Too much information.
How do you make 4 people uncomfortable on this show? You just talk about thongs. There we go.
There we go. So, guys, yeah.
All right, hold on. So I did a drop earlier as far as what we're going to talk about on the show. last bit of history, and I'm gonna take over just for a second here. Why the Scumbags of Wrestling, Sean? Why the podcast? What's your motivation behind it? What are fans going to see in the by the end of 2020 as far as what you've got going on besides t-shirts and stuff like that?
Okay, well, reason for it, Scumbags Wrestling, I've mentioned numerous times on our different podcast formats, is the fact that, we were on the opposite side of the ring at Smash events from the wrestling nerds. And, having both sides hyping up the matches, hyping up the crowd, you got a little rivalry there. And guys like Jake and James and Nathan are connected with Scumbags sort of naming with Shockstock and even Comic-Con. And so because they're part of the group, that's where I got the name from. We started off doing your podcast with the Sharpshooter. And as time went on, we talked about splitting off and doing more indie on my end, and you want to do Japan on your end. And so 100 episodes later, here we are. And so as far as it goes, once we get back to wrestling as we hope to have known it or know it in the future, doing more events like hanging out at Midwestern, doing live cut-ins, hopefully hooking up with maybe a couple more organizations. And I've also been thinking if things start getting back to normal, doing 2 a week, where one is dedicated to indie wrestling and maybe some interviews, and then the other one being mainstream with WWE AEW. That way, people don't have to sit through one if they don't like one half. They can get the whole and the other stuff that they do like in one show.
And to think, at one point in time, you couldn't even use Skype. Now look at you.
That's right. Come a long way.
All right. With regards to our podcast that we do together, we always throw, time to guests to give plugs and stuff like that. Daniel, what's going on in your social media world? Because I know you've got YouTube channel and everything else going on.
I've been trying to add more videos to my YouTube channel, which is Canadian Blu-ray.
And then what's that all about? Because I know you're a huge collector of certain things.
Mostly it's the Blu-rays I pick up, but I've been trying to add more video games, action figures, and the occasional celebrity interview.
Now you're a fan of the Power Rangers as well as Transformers, eh?
Yeah.
All right, and then last question for you: what's the last DVD that you picked up and watched?
The last Blu-ray I picked up was the new Charlie's Angels movie, but fortunately, I haven't watched it yet.
There's lots of time to be doing that stuff nowadays. Steven?
Not really much going on here. When I moved to Toronto, I got really excited because I was able to go to a lot of independent shows, which were actually, it was really cool to be in London's a big city, but there's not a lot of wrestling going on. Where Toronto, it's almost a show a weekend you can go to. So I'm hoping that things start to get back to normal and be able to get back out there and watch a lot more independent wrestling. Kind of sad because I did buy tickets to War of the Worlds because it's not that far from me. Kind of sad that Smash was canceled because I was looking forward to going back to that at the Rec Room. But, hopefully things start to get back to normal and we'll be able to get back to watching real good independent wrestling here in Ontario.
Clarence, what's the latest on Midwestern wrestling as far as hopes and dreams for July, August per se?
Well, dreams are that we pick up everything and just keep on plugging away and keep selling out places that we always go to. I mean, we still have a championship belt that's hanging on my door frame here. It's got to go to somebody. So you can bet that we're gonna, once this all goes away and we can go back, we're gonna come back bigger than you guys could have ever imagined.
Definitely looking forward to that and being part of that show.
All right, Sean, what's your final thoughts on independent wrestling and what fans should do right now to support, as well as when the floodgates open, how excited are you going to be to travel around again to go to these shows?
I'm looking forward to hitting as many shows as possible when it does come back. I had reached out to some talent to see if there was anything we could do to help them. They just basically said if you can plug that they're available on Pro Wrestling Tees and check out your favorite talent and support them with picking up some merchandise while it's available, and go a long way. Plus, then as soon as the matches and dates get announced, get out there, get your tickets, and welcome these guys back.
Yeah, we're gonna, with the T-shirts and the merch and stuff. We already put out one for Tyson. But we're going to start putting out some other talents merch and a way to get in contact with them on all of our platforms for Midwestern Wrestling.
Excellent. And Chris, how do we get in touch with you for those looking?
Well, I'm all over that fucking place. You know that. But if I don't. Okay, so I'm not as out there as you are as far as having like 60 different things on the internet, but my main two babies are cwnonline.ca, which is my kind of news style website that I try to get as much out there as possible. The other thing that I do obviously is TNT, which I love the name of. It's a very good name, TNT. Those initials, they flow together. Someday I may make a TNT championship for maybe the best guest that we've ever had on the show. Anyway, long story short, yeah, the podcast, the website, and then helping people do their own shows that might have hit 100 episodes or something like that. So anyways, for me to you, Sean, congratulations on this, because I remember way back in the days of doing the Sharpshooter podcast, which I think was fucking 2-3 years ago at this point. I mean, it was technology was not like this, and then all of a sudden we started doing Google Hangouts on air, if you remember that, and that got a little bit easier. And then all of a sudden I developed, I discovered StreamYard, which has the ability to do this video thing right now. And then how you do all the audio shit and the video stuff that you do. Still learning the ropes on all the video editing stuff. But again, from me to you, congrats on this. And hopefully we see you do 200 episodes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. And thank you for being part of this show. So until next time, take it easy, and we'll talk some wrestling.
Thanks for having us on.
As always, anytime.
Yeah, there's one thing I wanted to add. That shirt looks pretty cool. The one you're coming out with. You thinking about adding any more wrestlers to it, or is it just the ones that are?
Nope, that's as many as we look like we're going to be able to stuff in there. There's about 20, 21 different talents. So I know there was a few that I would have loved to have had added to there, but this is what we got, and we're going to make the best of it, and it's going to be popping really nicely, I think, when Nigel's finished.
And I wanted to show this too.
Is that the movie that Chris was talking about?
The Monsters Brawl that was brought up earlier. Got a couple autographs on it.
Nice. Need to find a way of watching that then.
Yeah.
And take Jonesy's recommendations. So yeah, once again, thank you guys, and be sure to catch this podcast on any of the available outlets, including Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and iTunes.
All right, very good. Are we good?
We're good.
All right, sign it off. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Find something.